Welcome to YogiViews, where my guest is yoga itself, through interviewing those who practice it, teach it, sell it, or simply love it. I am Antonio Sausys, your host. We have the pleasure of having here with us today Sherri Baptiste. Welcome, Sherri. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much, Antonio.
Sherri is a wonderful example of this mix. She is the daughter of Magania and Walt Baptiste, two who were pioneers, leaders, and visionaries in the field of human development. This family went on into incorporating dance, nutrition, spas, retreats, bodybuilding into a very well orchestrated wellness offering, and certainly a multidimensional one. But not only that, Sherri later on took yet one more creative step and came up with something called yoga with weights. And that's why we have her here today, to talk a little bit about this mix and to see and analyze how yoga had permeated this discipline, or this discipline had permeated yoga. So we can say that with this system a person would not only gain physical strength, but they would also gain the spiritual aspects of the practice.
Absolutely, and in the process, they are, with yoga with weights, a Baptiste method yoga with weights, they are applying a technique with a little bit of added weights. We use very light weights. We do ankle weights and small handheld weights. They are adding a small tool to the body, but the body immediately registers that a little bit more weight has been added to it. It works balance and coordination in phenomenal ways. It's the brain is, in a way, it's like a gym up here. You're working, once you strap on the weights, you're working balance and coordination poses. The brain is like arcing, like little spark plugs are going off up there. So it's phenomenal for the brain as well. But then bone density. There's a kickstart, a reaction when you add a little bit of weight to the body that kind of moves through the body. There's a higher demand on the bones, on the muscles engage, the bone density stays vibrant because here it is, life is calling on me to work a little bit more. The body notices right away, and then the chemistry, the hormones, the chemical response in the brain through the body is one that keeps the integrity of those systems alive. Metabolism increases, and there have been studies shown. Last year, a couple were done that were excellent that showed that when you do the resistance training with the weights, free weights we're talking about, the metabolism, and what is metabolism? Metabolism is the measurement of life force. When we go out into the universe looking at other planets, what are we looking for? Life force. So it's a measurement of life force. Our metabolism, when we add a little bit of weight to the body, increases. And it's a productive increase that stays active in the body for, it used to be felt only a few hours after a free weight kind of a practice, but we're talking now into a couple of days, even perhaps for some individuals who use weights. So you're increasing your vibrant life force. And it's a prana-based force, so we're working with the breath, so the pranayama, what prana is life force and vital force. We're now enhancing.
Let me ask you something specifically, because when you were talking about bone density, I was thinking about osteoporosis and how common that is in our day. So maybe it would help people with osteoporosis if done carefully?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, on Friday of this week, I'm being brought into a yoga therapy teacher's training to spend a whole day working with an MD who will be talking about exactly that, the healthy bones and what it really means to the individual. And I will be teaching the instructors and teachers how to provide yoga with weights to their clients and to their students. I've been brought down to Loyola Marymount to teach in their programs too, their teachers training programs to help assist in exactly that kind of work.
And so in regards to the metabolism, then would it be a good weight loss technique?
Weight loss, absolutely. Absolutely. The one thing I notice in the nature of all of the Baptiste teachings, but when you add a little bit of weights, not only does the definition very quickly show up in the body, beautiful waistlines, muscular toning, but an elongated muscle, not the bulky, contracted. When you see the beautiful images of my father and his yoga practices, too. You see his muscles were not locked and bound, but there was a full range of motion and flexibility in his body. That's the kind of work that all of these teachings that I pass on as well and that I practice myself, keep our bodies longer and more aligned and free, and all the organs inside are really, I mean, we're open. And there's a beautiful flexibility, a suppleness. Youthfulness is a suppleness. So again, yes, the bodies absolutely stay in good shape, and a distribution of the body's weight. I notice the bodies in our work together tend not to bulk up in one area, and if people come in and they're new to it and they're a little chunky in certain areas of the body, I see the bodies just open up where there's an evenness, all different sizes and shapes in the classroom, but they're distributed in balance, a beautiful sense of balance.
Is there any age limit for practicing this form?
Absolutely not, no. And we do, and I address this in the book very skillfully. We talk about it, and there are some recommendations if children want to pick up weights. There are certain times where the bones are developing and we're really not quite there. A little bit, very light, can be approachable and safe, but not a heavy weight training thing. But we're talking all the way into the seniors, from doing athleticism type of yoga with weights, dynamic for runners. I have Ironman champions who have taken my classes and utilized all of these techniques to really run through that finish line in a champion fashion, to seniors that are bedridden or working with skillfully, that absolutely they feel better, they look better, their range of motion improves, their vitality improves.
Well, one of the things I have to thank you for is for not having named it some form of yoga.
Okay.
Because as we know now, everybody makes one of these mixes and calls it such and such yoga. And
No
I remember wonderful Mukunda Styles, a wonderful teacher and friend in common, that when asked what kind of yoga you teach, he would say yoga.
Yeah, exactly.
So thanks for not naming it anything and just saying yoga with weights. But what I would like to invite you is if you want to show us a little bit the props that you use, and maybe do a little bit and do a demonstration or something that maybe even the viewers could follow you at home.
I would be happy to.
Then let's move to the practice phase.
Sounds wonderful.
So, Sherri, show us the technique. Tell us something. Make us work.
All right, so you want to try, Antonia wants to try some yoga with weights. So what we use, and I think, you know, a lot of us have, if you look under our beds or open up our closet doors, we've got a set of handheld free weights somewhere tucked around our house. It might be gathering a little bit of dust, but let's put them to work now. And these are very simple props that we use that carry the weights. What I like for the women is to use 1 and 3 pound ankle weights. And for the guys, 3 to 5 pounders. And the yoga with weight system can even be practiced the first time. And I really do, out of respect for the yoga tradition and system, I call them exercises versus asana or postures. So when we're practicing the exercises, they can all be practiced without weights for the first time. The only thing about using ankle weights in the beginning would be if you're in any instability in the lower back. Let's say you're healing or you're just coming out of an acute period, some kind of inflammation. Cool it on the weights for a little bit until you feel stable enough again, and then add a little bit of weight so you get the benefits from it. So what I've got for you, and so for the guys I mentioned 3 to 5 pounders. So these are ankle weights. You can find them everywhere now in the fitness stores, athletic stores, even your local, some of your larger drugstores will have them in their little fitness sections for you as well, so they're easy to come by. Handheld weights. I have these ones for you, which are more in the classic keeping. These are 3 pound weights. For you, I would go 3 pound to start, but really I'd move you right in after today's practice. We need to give you a little spinach too.
It's not all weights.
I would move you right into 5-pound weights. And for the guys, again, you're a strong, athletic, beautiful individual with your physique already. You would want to go 5-pound weights, 3 pounds, 5 pounds. If you're healing, recuperating in the shoulders, keep it down to the 3-pounders. And again, no weights. And then at maximum, we're not going for the big powerlifting. That's a different technique, a different system. This, you would use maximum 10-pound weights for the guys. Okay? For the women, 1 to 3 pounders will give you the results you're after. Now, I wanted to bring, these are hard to find, but you'll see some where, and in yoga, we love every toe, every finger counts in yoga. So I found a few sets of these weights. If you can find any that strap on, and a few companies are making them, I do recommend these ones for full extension when you're taking the arms out, when you're doing different things. You can fan the chest open, these beautiful opening poses. So for the women that are wanting to try, look for the lighter 1 to 3 pound weights for all of this.
All right.
So I've got you strapped in here. I've got you, all right, I've got you bound. I want you to just feel your feet on the floor for a moment and notice, and I want you to feel, do you feel a little stabilizing force having the added weight on there?
Yeah, it's hard to move.
Yeah, it's hard to move. I love it. So just marching in place a little bit, right up and down. And you could bring one weight up. Good. And then just bring the knob right up. Great. You're alternating. Now the alternating action, one knee and one hand, just like you're doing, was fantastic. Keep it going a little longer. Where's the breath? Great yogi, grand yogi that you are. Yes, consciousness. You bring it to life from the inside out. Great, beautiful, great. And then pause. Good. Let's take another exercise. So you take a gentle chair pose, but you bring a bicep curl into the action, curling up. Inhale down, breath in. Exhale, take a deep-seated pose. Inhalation up, and it's a slow and intense practice. So you come down 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, feel a beautiful big smile in the chest. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 more, inhale. Fantastic, exhale. 1 more, inhalation. Your body's listening to this. It feels the activity. The muscles and the bones are working together. 1 more, inhale. Okay, now hold it there, but conscious breath. 2 breaths. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale and rise all the way. Fantastic. I'm going to give you another one for the brain that is phenomenal here. Again, it's a cross-training one. So stand tall in Tadasana, a mountain pose, as we call it in the yoga system. And you're going to bring the right hand up to the left shoulder and look to your right. So now here, what is this? This is asking our brains to just stay so awake as we practice. Inhale, open, expansion. Feel now, bring the mind into the practice and feel the muscles with the bones here. Inhalation, open. Exhalation, cross. 3 more, breath. Two. And 1. Beautiful breath. And back down again to the start position. Now, just for a moment, how does your right side feel versus your left?
Feels longer.
Longer, great. So lengthening the muscles, and that is a classic quality of this practice. Instead of bulky, contracted, constricted bodies, elongated, freely flowing. Just do 4 for the other side so we balance you out. Exhale, inhale, open. Exhale, across. Good, consciousness. We're mindful, we're in the moment. So it's got all that Zen-like power of yoga Zen quality. Inhalation, exhalation. 1 more to go. Inhale, exhale. Fantastic, great, and let that go. Good. I want to do a standing, and then you learn to pause for moments in your practice. Again, it's quite mindful and moving meditation. What I'd like you to do next, Antonio, I'm going to bring you into one called the airplane. So you're going to walk to the back of your yoga mat. Good. And you're going to bring your hands to your chest here. Beautiful. You're going to step forward onto the right foot. Good, and balance on that right foot, and bring the back heel up and open your arms as you inhale, balancing.
The back heel up.
Back heel up. Yes, bring the heel up off the floor, leg up. Fantastic, and back to center, exhale, good. Inhale, open again, bring the leg off the floor, the back leg up. Exhale, back in again, the airplane. Again, and 2. Now feel the balance working here, the power of it. Exhale in, and 1, inhale. And then hold it for a breath, leg, back leg, bring it off the floor, balance. 3, 2, 1, exhale, and come back again. And bring the hands down, beautiful, great. And then in your own home practice, of course, you would do the other side, and you can do sets of them. So you could, with ease, do 2 sets, and you would do 6 to 8 in one set, and then come back, pause for 2 or 3 breaths, and then another set. I want to show you a couple because not everybody, and this is for all ages, not everybody has the ability to do the more dynamic standing exercises. And in the book Yoga with Weights, there are over 100 exercises. And we do sequencing of them, and I target certain body parts and areas if you want to build up. So there's all kinds of stuff in the book for you and in this system. But let me bring you onto a chair next. And let me have you face forward here. Take a seat and come more towards the edge as we classically do in our yoga practice. I also recommend that you, for the standing work that we do, that you were on a yoga mat. I have you on a yoga mat here, and that is for safety and for your security so that you're not slipping. All right, so the hands here. Now just pause for a moment and feel the classic 3-part yogic breath, engaging the abdomen. Beautiful relaxation response in there. The diaphragm is the heart of the breath. When you breathe in naturally, the ribs open like fingers as a response, and then they center and settle back in again. Beautiful. And then way up into the upper lobes of the lungs, which go way up here. Feel expansion and centering. Good. Now, a lot of people in our communities, in our culture, in our families, in our homes, perhaps even ourselves, at times we need to do practices that are seated. So in this one, what I'd like you to do is, it's called the mirror. And you're going to bring the hands onto your thighs, so facing up, both of them, that's it. And you're going to take the right arm up to the right, so you're going to follow it with your eyes the whole way up. So it's a nice stretch here, a full reach, you're working your range of motion. Concentration, focus, breath. To the left, inhale wide open all the way up. Beautiful, and watch it as if the weight is a mirror, Antonio, and then bring it back down again. Now stay with it all the way down. Breathe up, right hand, inhalation up, look at the mirror, look at your own image, look into your own eyes in that hand. Exhale, back down again. And finish with the left, inhale up. Exhaling down, fantastic, looking great, just like that, beautiful. And then bring both arms wide open. Now, there's a point where the arms naturally rotate and evolve, so don't force. In yoga and yoga with weights, we never force. Exhale down, beautiful. Inhale, up, breath in, right up. Exhale down. Good. Keep the hands down alongside your body. And the next one, we call it the ticking clock. So you're like a beautiful pendulum, and you're sitting in that chair, and you're just going to go side with the opposite hand climbing up, and then back to center. Let's inhale, so the air coming into the lungs, and look over is creating a subtle expansion. Exhale, back to neutral. Empty your lungs, and below the navel, pull in and up. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. So imagine all you have really is a chair to practice on, but think of how powerful these are. These exercises are not watered down at all. They're dynamic, they're real, you'll get the benefits. One more. Inhale. And it's really as simple as this. It's mindfulness in action. Let both arms come up all the way, and they can go above your head there. Beautiful. Just like that. Feel the scapulas pulling down and the waistline up to meet them. Exhale. Yeah, slowly down. And 2. Make it a breath of peace. So an internal beautiful mantra of peace. You begin to work with the mind, the sound, the tuning of the mind. And then a breath of harmony. Peace, harmony, harmonious. Exhale back down again. And then one more, well-being. Well-being, your being. Well-being. Beautiful, great. And then rest the hands on your 2 thighs, face up. And we finish so if we do a series of a few of the exercises, you'll finish then with a few minutes of meditation. And just ensuring that you have that true centering as before either moving into a next series or sequence or finishing your practice. So every practice in the Yoga with Weight system should be ending or finished with a few moments of just that mindfulness meditation.
Wonderful, wonderful, Sherri. Well, thank you very much.
You're so welcome.
Yes.
You're a wonderful yogi with weights. I love it.
Thank you very much, and I suggest we leave now the practice space and we continue.
I love that. Thank
Okay.
you. All right.
So thank you, Sherri. That was great. It was certainly a pleasure to practice this form of yoga, and I'm interested now in more, so I'm sure I will be able to do that.
Wonderful.
Thank you. Now, Sherri, you were talking and you mentioned many times about the integration between mind, body, and spirit. I know you're a big supporter of this, and in fact, I know you're a big vehicle of bringing this back into the yoga practice and into the general picture of yoga, taking it a bit out of the just purely body-based practice, aerobic almost for some styles, and bringing the mind-body spirit connection back into the picture. I also know that you lead retreats in different parts of the world. You take people to sacred places. How is that integration doing in the world? How do you notice? What do you think about it? And is it different in the States or not? What do you think?
Well, interesting question, Antonio. And what comes to mind in that, and yes, thank you, I do. I travel all over the world. I just returned co-leading a group to Ireland for 2 weeks. And I'll give you an example of what happens when the quality of practice is alive each day. And this is on a journey for about 10 days with a beautiful group of people from all over the US that arrived for this journey. We practiced yoga every morning early before we'd head out through doing sacred Celtic and amazing Ireland. There was one day where we couldn't practice because our timing didn't allow, and everybody felt a huge difference. And what the difference was a quality of connectivity. There's a greater collective consciousness that those of us who've really had a moment, even looking out into the ocean or into a baby's eyes, or a moment of that spiritual realm, looking into a crackling fire where something feels like it's bigger than the moment, bigger than simply my being here. There's a connection to that. The yoga practices, when they're really delivered, when they're practiced from a state of integrity where it's still held together in the true traditions, it changes your energy, your flow. People feel better. So here we're heading out to travel around and journey around, but also the experience you're having. There's a quality of connection to the moment, to the day. So if you think of integrating and becoming more consciously alive, that each moment of every day is yoga, that this is our lifestyle, well, you're walking through life quite differently. There's a different quality of living and the experience of life. You brought up the experience of yoga, or yoga, what is it doing today? Absolutely, a lot of it has kind of come up. You mentioned earlier in our discussion that there are different names and titles given to yoga practices and systems. It's gotten pretty playful and kind of crazy out there in some of the titles. But, you know, has yoga changed? Yoga is yoga. Yoga is an energetic force. It's more than just any man or woman teaching it. Yoga is an energetic understanding. It's a force, that universal force, what I'm not quite sure, really, I don't know if there are words for this, but it's that bigger scenario, that bigger picture, that glimpse into the crackling fire, that look out into the ocean, a sunset, or into a babe's eyes where there's some connection much greater than you, much greater than I in that moment. It's the bigger picture of things. Yoga is that awareness, that connection to that. My sense is what's happening with a lot in the world right now is a lot of the excess, a lot of sort of the nonsense of things too, it's showing up right now. So even in the yogic world and the exercise programs and the stuff, a lot of it's not going to hold up because it's, to be honest, it's not built on anything. But the individuals, the yoga practices that are being delivered that are based on the deeper understanding, and you can only teach what you know. So the teachers that are out there, they're genuine teachers, the real teachers, are different than instructors. Instructors can definitely apply and help people and give beautiful techniques to the best of their abilities. But there are also teachers with a deeper understanding of the wisdom and the true understanding, the essence of what all of this is about. That's not going away. That will never go away. We may disappear, we may dissipate, we may evolve and leave the planet eventually, each one of us does. But this thing of the yoga, that's here all the time. We're not that, you can't fiddle with that because that's pure essence there of whatever it is. It's there, it's alive and well. And what I've noticed, having been born into this all of my life, is that the yoga teachings, they shapeshift in a way that is, it doesn't know any boundaries, and they kind of shapeshift to meet the needs of our practical living today, especially as Westerners in this particular culture. We need things that are practical, that we feel. You come into an hour-long yoga class or longer, in 1 hour, people arrive. When we're done, the chemistry is completely shifted. People feel better. They start their days in a different way, or they end their days or practice in the way. They're different. And again, you see a lightness, people leaving the room. They're recharged. The energy is brought back to balance, a sense of inspiration, and also being in the driver's seat of our own life. That's the yoga that I've known all of my life. So sometimes it's not easy. We're doing that inner work, but it gets easier. And also, I will say, it doesn't have to be so hard. Life doesn't have to be so hard. And this gives us that gift.
In fact, the examples that you have given are none included moving into a cave and abstaining from sexual activity or never eating again for 40 days. You mentioned very simple things such as staring at the crackling fire or at a kid's eyes. Now, we are all seekers. We are all looking for something in this existence of ours. If it's well-being or happiness or contentment or money or power, we're all seeking for something. What would you say, if you were to define perhaps in 1 or 2 words, just what would you say that a person finds in yoga when it is in yoga where this person is seeking?
Well, I would say yes, people are seeking, but I would say stop seeking and arrive, because you're already whole. We came into the world, we are balanced, and balance is our home. It's already right here. When we're agenda-driven, when we're forcing, when we're always striving, we're always looking for what's next, we're all seeking, that's just distraction. So the training that we do, the personal practice, it's about internal, the inner. This is like a cave, a sacred cave. We don't have to go off to the Himalayas. We can. Beautiful journeying together through the world, but we don't have to. It's right here, right now. So when you come into that place, you tune into the breath, you practice 1 moment, you have 1 moment where it's okay, this is it. It doesn't get any better than this right here, right now. And then that leads you into the next moments. What's better than that?
That's a beautiful concept to say that what you find in yoga, if that's where you're seeking, is the experience of finding, is arriving.
Arriving.
It brings to mind one of the 5 causes of suffering that Patanjali so wonderfully defined, and one of them was egoism, or a false identification with the body and the mind only. Because since the body and the mind are always craving, we end up being slaves of these craving machines and always wanting something next. Whereas if we identify with our spirit, which is already fulfilled and needs nothing, then your chances of suffering are much less. Sherri, we have to come to an end. I think we could go on and on forever, but I really thank you for joining us today. Most importantly, I thank you for what you have brought to the world of yoga in so many different ways, in such an inspirational way. And so how people would find you if they want to find you? What could tell us your website?
Thank you for asking, and I'm very much available through email. If you go to my website, which is www.powerofyoga.com, powerofyoga.com, and I am reachable. I answer my email, so please encourage your viewers. I'd love to speak with them. I invite them, if they're ever traveling through the Bay Area, to go to my website. You'll see a lot of beautiful events. I do travel around the country. I offer exquisite retreats, Green Gulch Zen Center, Tassajara Zen Center, beautiful trips that come up, women's retreats, phenomenal things. So I invite them to please join us.
All right. Well, thank you, Sherri, then. Thank you very much. This was Sherri Baptiste, a very inspirational teacher, born into a family of visionaries, and someone who had certainly continued with this endeavor throughout her life. Also a largely published author, and the book we referred to today was Yoga with Weights for Dummies. Probably anywhere by now, in any bookstore you can find it. And I thank you very much for joining us. This is YogiViews. My name is Antonio Sausys, and I'll see you the next time.